If These Books Could Talk. And our guest tonight is author Michelle Brown. So, well, y'all know her as Shell, but Michelle Brown is what we're going with tonight. But we have to use a real name. So thank you so much for joining us. So glad to be back. As I said, I usually do Hidden in Plain Sight, but when I have authors in the room and they want to talk about their books and y'all want to hear about their books, I do If These Books Could Talk. So tonight is If These Books Could Talk with author Michelle Brown. For those who do not know me, I'm Linda Otterbridge, owner and creator of Sista Up for women entrepreneurs. It's an online community for women entrepreneurs. And again, it's called Sista Up. Also, I do Women Who Write GR. So I have tons of authors, writers, creatives that I can share what they're doing as well. So If These Books Could Talk is a part of the Women Who Write GR series. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just going to start with, if you jump on, no housekeeping. If you jump on and you do not allow StreamYard to use your name, just make sure that when you comment that you use your name in the comments so we know who's on and who's commenting, okay? So that helps us because sometimes people don't want to put all that stuff in for StreamYard. But again, if you comment, please leave your name so we know who you are. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end because Michelle is going to be leaving some information with you on where to find her book. So for now, let's talk a little bit about our guest, author Michelle Brown. So Michelle Brown is the author of The Inner Child of Me. And you saw in the beginning, yes, I put her book up. Thank you, Michelle. I put her book up so you can see it. Author Michelle Brown, Shell. The Inner Child tells the story of a young child growing up to an adult facing trials and tribulations such as love, abuse, manipulation, and growth. So, for now, we are going to hear what Michelle has to say about her book, why she wrote it, the timeline, and what's going on going forward with the book. So, again, welcome, author Michelle Brown. Oh, yay! We made it!
I know we ain't got no audience back here. We're like, ooh, okay.
Yay!
Hello, everybody. I'm trying to get this book in this camera. Okay, this way. Okay. So this is my book. I gotta scoot over. So for those who don't know, the book is called The Inner Child of Me. So this is me as an adult. I'm trying to get this camera
Oh,
together.
I see it. You good.
Okay. So this is me as an adult. And then this is me as a child. So it's a mirror of a reflection of me looking at me. I'm trying to kid. Don't mind me, y'all.
You got it.
So this is me looking at me as a mirror of a reflection of the trials and tribulations to shape me to be this person. No, this person.
Mhm.
And I had to heal her in order to grow. So it's
Mm.
about childhood trauma. So basically, the book came about through meditation.
Oh,
Now, yeah, I was meditating.
I'm so
I
glad you're going right into this because that's what I was going to ask you next. How did you? Why did you? And how did you start writing this book?
Yeah. So the thing is I always wanted to write a book. I always wanted to write a book. I just didn't know what book.
Hmm.
So I was at a place in my life where I was going through a lot of stuff and I just want to escape life. I was just like, what can I do to get away from everybody and everything?
Hmm.
So I meditation just came about and I was like, what is it? What are you supposed to do? So I ended up watching a video of a guy named Aaron Doty on YouTube and he through his video I started listening to it. He said, listen to this 30 days. It will
Hmm.
change your life. Nah, I
Mm.
didn't understand that. I just needed something to escape. So I started listening to it. I don't remember what day it was, but one day I listened to it and it took me to a whole nother
Hmm.
world. I watched it and then it showed me a little girl. And so in there it showed me why I love kids.
Hmm.
And when I'm around these kids, I get safe and I get vulnerable when I'm around these kids. And then it also showed me that this little girl wants to be free. So
Mm.
after the meditation, I'm like, I was confused. I'm like, what just happened? And so as I just really started thinking about it, I'm like, that was me. And I'm
Wow.
like, that's me at 6 years old being molested.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
didn't know that it was still there. I thought I got over it.
Right.
But the meditation just showed me that you don't get over it, you just learn how to cope with it.
Mhm.
And so my part of me, healing her was getting on top of a mountain and jumping off. I'm like, I
Mm.
need to get on a mountain and I need to jump off. I need to free this little girl.
Mm.
Now, as time was going by, that's when a book came about. And I was like, okay, I got to write this book. That's how I'm going to heal her. But I didn't want to write the book because I was like, I'm not no author. I don't write.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I was battling myself. Like, I know I have to write this book, but I don't want to write this book because I'm not an author. And then I don't know, I don't know anything about writing.
Mhm.
So, but I was like, okay, I have to write this book.
Mhm.
So what happened was I was on YouTube and I watched this lady named Luciv, I think it's Luciv TV, and
Mhm.
she had a video that said inner child healed.
Mm.
I watched her video and she went to rescue her little girl in a hotel lobby. And when she was in there, she said the girl was kicking and screaming, and she didn't want to leave.
Right.
And so she kept going back, kept going back. And from that moment, I was in tears. I was like, oh my, I was just like, this is real.
Oh
So
my
she was
goodness.
like, yeah. So she was like, I went to go rescue her, and she was like, she was waiting on her dad to come get her. So
Mhm.
she never left the hotel lobby when she was a kid. After she got older too, is because
Wow.
she still was waiting for her dad to come get
Right.
her out of the hotel lobby. He never came down. So her child was just still there,
Oh my
left,
goodness. Just left. Just
just still
girl.
waiting, just still waiting for
You
somebody
know,
to come rescue her.
we've talked about this book more than once. This is the first time I've heard this part. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Whew.
So that gave me my motivation. I was like, I have to write this book. Like, this is real, you know?
So.
And the thing about it is, as I started like writing a book, I learned a lot about the book. Like,
Mhm.
the the trauma goes deep. Like,
Mhm.
molestation didn't just happen to me. It happened to my mom. It happened to
Mm.
my dad. It
Mm.
happened to some of my sisters. It happened to some of my family members, cousins. Uh, I don't like, probably the boys too. Like, it's a
Like you said,
generational
generational.
curse. Yes,
Generation.
it's a
Yep. Because that's what we
generational
talked about
curse.
once before about your book earlier. You mentioned it, and when you mentioned it, you talked about that a generational curse.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't just happen to you. You learned through writing. It was a circle, a
Cycle.
cycle,
Mm-hmm.
cycle.
Yep, it was a whole cycle. And the thing about it is, Linda, I was like, see me, what really, it was me as well, but what gave me the motivation is I seen a little girl, and I
Mhm.
love kids.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is, the interesting thing about it is, my brother, he had me go back into the roots, because he said you need to go find that video so you
Mm.
can know when people ask you what video was it that gave you that little girl, that gave you that vision. And
Right.
when I went back to watch the video, Linda, I was like, what? Like, it was called, the video was called How to Attract Love in Your Life. And I
Wow.
was like, I was really embarrassed. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is not the video. I was
Mhm.
not that desperate.
Mhm.
Please don't tell me I was that
But you
desperate.
watched the video,
But
and that's what it
the
was.
thing about it was, it didn't have nothing to do with a relationship.
Mhm.
See, me, I thought like, daddy, I was trying to fill that void with relationships. But what it showed me was the lack of the love that I was missing wasn't in relationships, it was self-love. Because
Mm.
when you think about a child, what is the most precious thing? It's the children. So
Right.
the kids was only reflecting back to me how I was really feeling on the inside.
Mhm. Mhm.
So me trying to protect the kids from being neglected and all of that, they was only showing me that I was neglecting my own inner child.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But see, what I thought is what everybody else think. They think if they give it to someone else, they can fill the void within themselves.
Right.
So I thought if I could give it to the kids, I can fill that void within that little girl that's inside of me. But I didn't know that. I was like, so that was the message.
So
The
you
way, yes, the way back in is the way back to yourself.
right back to yourself. Now you mentioned I wasn't a writer. I didn't know how I was going to do it. That writing is not my thing. but you had the message, you had the story, and you definitely had the trauma, because
Yes.
it was trauma. You dealing
Mhm.
with the trauma and trying to get back to your inner self. So when you said I wasn't a writer, I didn't know how I was going to do it. We talked a little bit about this too. The process. What was the process like of putting that, bringing all that up, those feelings of the trauma, because you got to put it on paper now. And then
Mhm.
how long did it take?
Okay, so I had help um from a guy named Cornelius Woody, sir. He was a writer himself. And so the Lord gave me the vision. He said, "Okay, go to someone who's already experienced it. They can give you some insight on it."
Mm-hmm.
And I had already got into the verge of asking for help, because I
Mm-hmm.
know to get somewhere else you need to ask for help.
Yep.
So I went to him, and from there he gave me, rest his soul, because he's passed away.
Oh,
But yeah, he gave me the outline. Like
right.
he showed me, he told me to read his book and like see how he did his, and to get a vision of how a book's supposed to go, because I
Gotcha.
had no idea. But
Mm-hmm.
as I read his book and then I seen how he did his, I didn't want it to look the same, but
Right.
I was trying, it gave me an idea of how I would want to put mine together.
Exactly.
And
Okay.
so yeah, so what happened was, so I was writing it out at first, but he was like, what you should do is you should type it out. And
Mm.
then that way, when if you need to edit, then you could go back and edit. Because if you
Right.
write it out and
Right.
as well as typing it, it takes a lot of time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was doing. So I was already
Oh.
like on chapter like 3, and I
Oh.
was writing it out before I typed it out. But when he told me that, I just was like, "You right?
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of writing,
That's a lot of writing.
taking it from the paper to the computer." So I
Right.
started typing it out.
Ah.
And as I started typing it out, I was in school at that time, my last semester.
Mm-hmm.
And what I told myself is, if once I finish my semester, I'll have time to focus on the book,
Mm-hmm.
because dealing with classes and doing essays and all of that stuff, that's what
Mm.
gave me the, like, I can write this book. If I'm doing essays and writing papers, I might as well write the book at this time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I did that, because had I would completed classes, I would this book would not be existing, because I would have
Right.
been like, I'm done with school. I'm not writing no more. I'm not taking no more courses.
So this book is just not getting out.
It's just not gonna be out. But I started writing it as I was in school. So I already started it. And that's one thing about me. If I start something, I have to finish it. So I already seen that it was already in process. So I
Right.
had to complete it.
Right.
So I started writing it. I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So once I completed my classes, I'm like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna finish it. So that's what I did. And I was up, I was doing out every day, all night on the computer, just typing, 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 typing. And I had to continue to keep editing it, put
Right.
like uploading it back, editing it again, taking it down.
And
It
you
was,
probably had no idea all the work that's involved. Because when you talk to authors and writers, my husband's a writer, author, and he helped a writing coach. So he talks
mm-hmm,
about all this stuff of just the words, just getting the right words to come to you, and then sitting still and quiet and having to think. And I just can't imagine, because for one, I can't sit still like that for anything to come to me. And
yes.
then,
And I had to go to the library.
yes, yes, see,
I had
just
to go to
back to
two
stuff.
libraries, because during the pandemic, you only can be in the library at like for 30 minutes. It
Right,
wasn't no all day thing.
right.
So I had to go to one library, leave that library when the session was over, to go to the other library downtown on those sessions, because what was, I didn't have the Google the
Right.
word, so I had to
Hmm.
type it up at the library. But
Oh,
it came to a time when I was like, look, we gonna have to do something about this, because if I continue to keep going back and forth, it's gonna make it longer for me to get
mhm.
this book done.
Girl, you made it work. And that's the stuff people have no idea, the story behind the story, I like to say. Because there's always a story. But once you really learn what it took for that person to get to that point,
Yeah,
that's
it
the
was a
part.
task.
That's the part. Because that's a lot. Everything you just mentioned, that's a lot.
Yeah,
And
it
then to
was. I
see
was.
the finished product after all that, you like, this
It's
is just
worth it.
taking unusual amount of time.
Yes. It was me going back and forth, and during the pandemic, you only had 30 minutes at the computer.
Mm.
So I had to say that, wait till the next day, go back and do it again, then go back to the
Ooh.
other. Yeah, I was back and forth, back and forth.
Oh. So tell me this. Um, we talked about when you decided to write it, why you decided to write it, how long it took, um, what family, friends, what is it like when you're writing a book like that? Because again, it still involves your history, family. You're
Mhm.
telling your story and everyone else's. What was that
Mhm.
like?
So about the family and my friends,
Hmm.
about letting them know about the book.
Yeah, yeah. What was
Whew.
that like?
Okay, so
Because you're telling a traumatic experience, but you know it also involves some family members, and then you're sort of
yes,
sharing
yes.
theirs as well.
Now the thing about it is, a lot of my friends was just like, Michelle, you talk a lot. So they was just like, you could have put more in that book. Like it was like it
Wow,
for them they feel like it was like a tease because they was like, you
that's
could
a
have put
good
more
thing
in
when
that
you're writing a
book.
book.
Yeah, but I tell them, I say I don't have no what if should couldas.
Mm,
I feel like whatever I put in the book is what I wanted to say in the book.
right.
Now the only backlash that I had was my dad.
Mm.
Well, my donor, as my mom say.
Oh,
And the
okay.
yeah. And so what happened was he was kind of upset about the book
Mhm.
because he had his friend get the book. And it was certain
Oh.
things in the book that I guess he didn't want to be out there.
Hmm.
So he was like, "Why did you put that in the book? You wasn't even born." I said, "See, one thing about me, I come from I gotta get it from the mouth, the horse of the mouth. I went
Hmm.
to my mother.
Hmm.
She was the one that endured it. She told me
Mm.
about it. But when I wrote the book, the stuff that I learned, I
Mm.
was shocked myself. I was like, wait a minute. But the thing about it is, Linda, the book showed me, this is why I tell people I didn't write this book to sit. I
Right.
don't care where I'm at. I will promote to the day I die. I don't care if
Mm.
I'm in a grocery store. I don't care if I'm on a corner. I don't
And
care if
you
I'm
be
at the
promoting,
beauty
girl. That book
supply.
be everywhere.
Yes, because my book is my testimony.
Yes. Yes.
With during if you the first chapter in my book is called Unborn because
Talk
I
about that
wasn't
first
even
chapter.
born. I wasn't even born when my mom was going through her abuse.
Mm.
My mom miscarried. My mom, I don't know if I did I do it? Okay. My
Hmm.
mom miscarried her first child and then she had me. And
Mm.
my dad was very abusive to my mom.
Hmm.
And all that time, I still was in her womb
Mm.
and I'm still here.
Right.
And as when I was 2 years old, I had seizures really bad and I almost died in the hospital. So right there, that lets me know because I was watching a lady on YouTube and she talked about her mom getting abortions.
Mm.
And the doctors told her, if you abort this child, you're going to die.
Oh
So
wow.
that let me know that the attack didn't start when I got here. It happened before I was getting here.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
was fighting for my life to get here on earth. So what that told me was he said this child, she's going to be born because
Yes.
she's going to be the faces of all faces. She's going to be the change.
Oh, girl.
Because I tell people the things we go through in life is not our problems. It's our
Right.
ancestors. But it was born in our DNA. It was
Mm.
gave to us because
Hmm.
the people that came here before us, they didn't settle it. So they gave it to us to settle it. Now, if we
Ooh.
don't settle ours, we give it to the next generation.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
becomes
Yes.
a
Yes.
cycle, complete cycle to
Yes.
keep transforming into
Right.
somebody be like, look, enough is enough. This is
Girl.
not going to continue to happen.
Shell, people need to hear that because we talk about this all the time with generational stuff, and I know you said it. Hey, Jess, girl, I got. I'm just like you got me like stumped right now. Hey, Destiny, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. I love when you can put your people on screen, girl.
Oh,
Thank you so
yes.
much.
Hey, girl.
Yes, girl. Thanks for joining us tonight, and thank you for moving this on, and hopefully you're able to share it on Shell's page. It is a serious testimony, Destiny. Girl, every
It
time I
really
talk to
is.
Michelle, she give me something else, and I got chills right now. Just her talking about the whole thing of, the whole story of we weren't born to this. It was stuff that's given to us from it's in our DNA, but the ancestors, and it wasn't settled. Just hearing Shell say that, I know um, everyone listening to this can understand that because everyone has something in their family or things that they're going through that they can talk about a traumatic experience or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that
Yes,
was given, and that's not a gift you want to get, but was given.
exactly.
Not a gift you want to
Exactly.
get, but was given and left that you have to now deal with it and choose to deal with it in order not to pass it on. So
Exactly.
thanks again, Destiny. Thank you, Shell, for really talking about this because I can tell you this is. Um, if you hear it in the replay, you're going to be moved by it because it's hard not to be moved by it because it's something
Yes.
that most of us know to be true.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
and I tell people, I say, you can either continue the cycle or you can change the platform. So
yeah,
we can either continue what was gave to us
yes,
and act like it doesn't exist, or we can change it and give it a different route. And
mm,
that's what I'm doing. Like
yes,
I see it. Once you see it, you can ignore it and say, "Oh, it don't exist," or you
hmm
can be like, "Oh, I see this, and I
hmm
want to change this. I don't want my
mm,
generation to have to deal with this for the next 10 years and the next 20 years from now. I want to change the platform and give them something else so they can work on."
right, girl. So I'm going to let you pick something from your book to read because I love to hear you read from your book.
Okay.
And we didn't talk about this when we did the test, that
Okay.
I would have you read some excerpts from your book, but just something that at least they can get an idea of what's in there in your
Okay.
book.
So I'm gonna give them my chapter 12,
Okay.
and it was my awakening. It was like age 27. Wait, if I can get the
Oh,
book. Okay, let me see.
and what is the title? My Awakening.
Yes,
Okay,
awakening. If I
Awakening.
can get my camera to do the right
Oh
thing.
no, yeah, we got it.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
that is my tattoo. It's called Fly Away.
Oh,
So I said, with everything I ever been through or experienced, I just wish I had wings to fly away.
mm,
Now this spoke to me because, as you can see, those are butterflies.
mm-hmm,
Okay. Now, when I said fly away, I always thought about a bird.
mm-hmm.
But as you can see, I got a tattoo of a butterfly.
Butterfly.
And I never knew what that meant until I started my awakening and I started getting into me and realizing my purpose and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that a butterfly represents transformation.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So what spoke to me, I was like, wow. So what's interesting is that we already on our path. We just have to tap into it.
Mm,
It's already there. The steps is already there. You just have to tap into it and walk in it. Because I got this when I was 27, and I'm about to be 30 years old.
mm-hmm,
No, I didn't get this tattoo when I was 27. I got this tattoo when I was 22, 23,
mm-hmm,
on my way to college, my
mm-hmm.
like around my college years. So yeah. No, 2013. Yeah. So I did write my first tattoo June 16th, 2013. So I was 21,
Okay.
going on
Wow.
22. Yeah. So, and then I had this when I was 27. So the
Gotcha.
tattoo's already there, but I didn't know. I'm like, when I thought about it, I said, see, when I said wings to fly away, I'm thinking about a bird. But they
Right.
didn't tattoo a bird. They tattoo a butterfly, which was, I
Transformation.
was already in that state of mind. I just
Right.
had to tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's like a puzzle. Once you get the piece, you like, oh, then the next piece, then the next piece, then the next piece, and you start putting the puzzle together, and it start all coming together like
And that's what it sounds like. The more I hear you talk, it does. It sounds like a puzzle, a little bit. And you still, like you said, you still on a
putting them
trajectory
pieces
of,
together. Yeah,
yes, you still put those pieces together. But it sounds like it did start early, 2013, the tattoo, and you're 20, no, you'll be 30.
30.
Oh, yeah. That's some serious transformation and stuff you've seen, learned, and have
As time was
overcome over
going,
those years.
yes,
Yep, it's overcome.
yes.
So give me how long are your chapters? It's not
My chapters is, I don't have that many chapters. Let me see how many chapters I have.
but I still want to hear you read from a chapter. So pick a chapter that you can read.
Okay, yeah. So I have, that was my last chapter. That's
Okay.
chapter 12. Okay, let me see. What chapter do I want to read? The last two. Let's see.
All of them are good, I'm sure. He's like, oh, let me see which one I want to pick.
Yeah, I know. Let me see. What chapter do I want to read? Do,
I
do,
always love
do.
hearing authors read from their own books because it's like it's your stuff, so you already know what to say, and you just sort of act it out. You don't really need that voiceover kind of
Oh,
person character.
okay. Um, Let me see. Trying to see. Unnecessary pain. Fish without water. Hmm.
She got some good stuff in here, y'all. Anytime she going through it like that, she's like, I'm not giving it
Yeah,
all
I'm
to
like,
y'all. Y'all
which?
gonna have to buy this book. Y'all not getting it all, but I'll I'll read a little bit to you. And thanks for watching, viewers who are on. Thanks for hanging out with us
Yes.
tonight. And make sure that if you
I'm
come
about
back
to
in the
give y'all a
replay,
chapter
yeah, she's
once
gonna
I
give us a
get
chapter.
to this.
So thanks for hanging out with us, author Michelle Brown of the Inner
Hmm.
Child.
Dang, what do I want to read?
Inner
Kids.
child of me. She can't pick one, y'all.
I wonder if I should just read the abuse. That's my first chapter, though.
That's the
I don't
best.
know.
Hey, you have to get them starting somewhere. So it may not be a bad idea to go with the first. So at least they know how it starts.
Okay. But this chapter is, I ain't gotta, do I have, do you want me to read the whole chapter or just read just some
Let me just
pages?
read some of it. 'Cause I'm not sure how long your chapters are.
Oh yeah, this one is,
I'll just read a paragraph or two.
okay, okay. Madness continues. Uh, okay. I think I'm gonna use, okay. So I'm gonna read chapter 1, Unborn Abuse.
Oh.
My name is Michelle. I was born April 28, 1992, to the parents of John Adams and Kwani Lee on the east side of Detroit. My parents had a beautiful relationship. They did everything together. They went to the movies, skating, picnics, etc. They were remarkably close, like best friends. Most people were jealous of the relationship. They wanted to be just like them. Some would have called them Bonnie and Clyde. Their relationship was so beautiful. They were on the road to be married. My parents were a couple every child or anyone would want to see. Their relationship topped all couples. My dad, John Adams, was a big gentleman towards my mom, Kwani Lee. He worshiped the ground she walked on. At the time, my mother was working for Burger King and Taco Bell. My dad was working, he was junking, picking up metal and stuff people would throw out as trash.
Mhm.
He would pick up and scrap for money. Also, he had a part time job working for Domino's. Coincidence, I work at Domino's.
Coincidence.
Parents always worked and kept a job. They worked not only part they were not only a perfect couple, but they brought everything together.
Mm.
But with all rainbows and stars, my mom was soon to start to see a storm happen. My dad started using drugs. Although he tried to hide it from my mom, she knew something was not right. His behavior started to change and started to become very controlling towards my mom. He did not want to tell anyone, but he had to reveal it to my mom because in a relationship they did not hide anything. They told each other everything. They always kept it 100% no matter how hard the truth was to tell. They didn't keep anything secretive. So when my mom asked, he had no choice but to tell her the truth. She knew he was using when she got him the job at the hotel working with my great auntie. My dad was out there bad. My mom would have to give him out She would have to get him out of the dope houses. She had to buy his ID back from the drug dealer.
Mm,
My dad sold and did everything to get it fixed. And if he didn't get it, then somebody would have to pay for it.
mm.
He would cause he would start stealing, lying, and just doing anything to get his drugs. He was really playing in devil's playground. He allowed the drugs to take over his body. He then started beating my mom
Mm.
while she was pregnant with my sibling. He punched her in her stomach until she had a miscarriage.
Oh
So
wow.
yes, there was a baby before me. Sadly, my mom lost it due to my dad abusive ways towards her.
Mm,
After the loss of my siblings, she was soon to get pregnant again with me.
mm,
This still didn't stop the abuse. If you ask my mom, she will say it even got worse. He tried to kill my mom plenty of times. The lady he once loved and cared for, he started to treat like a punching bag. My mom could not believe the man that was her best friend lover was soon to be the one of her worst nightmares.
mm,
He would tell her he was sorry once he beat her and that it would not happen again. My mom kept forgiving my dad, thinking he would change. She never experienced this abuse, only a little bit similar with my grandmother, Cindy, boyfriend.
mm.
He would beat and torture both my mom and my grandmother.
Oh wow.
This man was also on drugs. His name was Jack, the worst man besides my dad my mom could ever encounter with.
Mm,
He abused my mom. Jack and my grandma would rape my mom.
mm,
They continued this pattern from the age 7 to 10 years old.
mm,
One time he beat my granny Cindy because she wanted to go to church. Jack was so angry that he pulled all my grandmother's hair out.
mm,
And all he did not, he pulled out the rest of it. He will also play Russian roulette with my mom and grandmother. So when my mom met my dad, he just added on to the abuse.
mm, mm, mm. Girl, she said, "Let me see which one I'm gonna pick." Girl, when I asked that question about family members and friends, because when you're writing, when you're exposing, put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
when you're exposing a traumatic family experience, that is, I can't even imagine the fear for you bringing that out, and then if that would cause tearing apart of family, because family don't speak with you putting too much information out there.
Mm-hmm.
You are. That's exposing. That's transparency to the third degree, to the third power. That's like a lot. Everything you just mentioned. Because I'm listening at you. I'm listening to you read, and I'm thinking, her mom, dad. You mentioned 4 different people. I just can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine. Did you
Yeah,
have
but
to?
as you can see, my mom dealt with it as she was younger, at seven
Right,
years old till she
right.
was 10.
7.
And her grandmother dealt with the same, I mean, her mom did with the same thing as well.
And
We
just as
come
you
from a
said,
family, yes, with women, abuse,
oh.
molestation, rape. That's in our women generation.
Mhm. But I guess the question I had is, had anyone said anything about it before your book? No one's going to write a book about it, but I'm
Oh no.
sure. Oh
Oh,
my
well,
goodness.
well, my sister, she talked about it. I mean, we
I
discussed it
mean, to
because we
really
had to
bring it
tell
to
my
that
mom.
level of
Yeah,
talking
but
about it in a
no,
book form.
exposing it, no.
Yes, because you're exposing on that level, like book slash turn movie. I mean, on that
Yeah.
level, because those are the things that when I think of family secrets and all the stuff families try to hide, those type of things like that. Everything you're saying, I'm just sitting here like I just can't imagine what that was like for you, for to heal yourself in the midst of exposing others, heal yourself in the midst of trying to heal the family. Like you said, we're not moving this any further. I'm not going to give this any more another generation of. I just can't imagine what that was like, because you're thinking about yourself, but you're also, um, it's just other. I'm just thinking about all the family while you're excited about your book, excited about all that. I just can't imagine the heaviness. that it must have felt and probably still
Just
feels every
hearing
time
it.
you read it. Just reading
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just reading
The
it.
thing about it is half of the stuff I knew because my mom told me as a child,
Right.
but I didn't get all the details until I wrote the book.
Mm.
And when I started writing the book, I literally, that's what I had to tell my dad. Like, I had to take a break because the stuff that my mom was telling me, I didn't even put all of it in the book. It
Oh,
was too much
I
for
can imagine.
myself.
Oh, I just can't
I
imagine.
said, Ma, look, I'll call you tomorrow. I need to sleep on this. It was too
Mm.
much. It was too much. Like, this, my mom is a strong person.
Mm.
And I even told her to write a book, but she told me she not able to because she won't get past 7 years old. That's how
Oh,
much trauma she's been through
oh,
in her life.
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine her trying to write. Just from what you said, that would be so tough. And she's like, I just, girl, I'm looking at you now, like, and we've talked about this, and you've read some excerpts from the book before because we've done some lives before. But when I did a live with you, that was your first live. You didn't get this
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
You didn't really read this part.
Yeah,
Um,
the abuse part.
yeah, you didn't read that. So just listening to it now, it's like I just don't know how. I, I'm gonna be quiet because I don't even know what words to pick right now because it's just it's I just can imagine how hard that is for you. I'm just thinking about how hard it is for you to come out with all this transparency. People you work with, friends, family, all this to know about this now. Um, what's some of your feedback? What are some of your feedback from family and friends after reading the book?
Well, a lot of people told me, like I said, a lot of people was like, I could have put more.
You're
They
right,
feel like the
right.
chapters was too short, and I could have said a lot of more, a lot of more stuff. But as me, I just feel like as I wrote the book, I feel like I said everything I needed to say, and I as once I was done with the book and I seen that it was published, I felt a relief.
Oh, I
Like
bet.
I felt empty. Like I did my job.
Mm,
And that's all that that's what I was telling my friend. Like, once you get this done, you're gonna feel so free.
mm-hmm.
Just because you're gonna know that you did your job.
Right.
And not only that, I knew like this wasn't just for me. Our
Mm-hmm.
story is not for us, it's for someone else. And
Right.
I knew that along the run, like the reason why I had to do this is because there was going to be people coming to me asking me,
Mm-hmm.
how did I do this? What was the
Right.
process? Then that's what I was telling you earlier when I was like, I just wish that somebody did it, gave me the tools so I can learn from them, but
Yes.
I have to get it in order to give it to someone
To
else.
someone else. And you're going to help someone else tell their story and move on from their traumatic experience. So that's your role, and I can see it. The book is for that. Like you said, it's for you too, the healing and traumatic, so you can get over that. But your story helps someone else. And just as we were talking about earlier before we got on live, is that you know when you don't tell your story, it is not helping someone
You
else.
killing, yeah,
You're
because the
healing.
thing about it is although you might think that your trauma is terrible, somebody has already been through probably worse or
Mm,
already going through worse.
mm,
And just by your testimony, because this is a testimony, you can heal someone.
mm.
Like I say, be the change that you want to be because
Right.
you are the change that you want to see in the world.
Hmm.
And not everybody that pick up your book is looking for a service. Somebody just looking for a push.
Right. Oh, girl. Shell. Y'all know how I get when I interview people. But this one here, I didn't expect Cheryl to come on this strong, y'all. Y'all know. We were joking around before we got on here. She done put on a whole different thing now. No, let me just get serious now, because this is a serious thing. So I didn't expect this part of it. And I know the book was serious. But it's just hearing this now from you shows it puts a different light on the book in your um, story. I am I have you gotten any speaking engagements? I can imagine people wanting you to speak on this in so many different levels.
Yes, I
I can
since
just
I've
see it.
been going to like vendors, like getting myself out there, I had a lot of people like this lady, when I went to my one event I went to, I was speaking to a lady and she wanted me to be a speaker at her
I can
inner
see it.
healing that she was talking about, because she was like, this is something that we need. This is something this is something that's going on now. This inner child
Hmm.
is there.
Hmm.
Because the thing about it is, the main thing we running from every single day is the main thing we're living every single day. It's our childhood. And
Mm.
until we go heal it, we're going to continue living the same childhood over and over again.
Y'all, when y'all watch this replay, if y'all can think of any groups, any panels, any youth organizations, young adult organizations of individuals who have had traumatic experience, who have had any situations, childhood experiences, it could be a plethora of different uh, um, traumatic experience that it could be. But just all the stuff that Shell is talking about today, she would be a phenomenal speaker to talk about just her experience and why she wrote the book and how it made her feel and how she's still dealing with things like that. So in the replay, if you know of someone, if you know of any groups, if you know of any, it could be your community organizations, your churches, your women's organizations, your groups, anything that I can possibly think of. Shell is the person because she got me thinking. I wrote so many things down here about how I can see you plugged in, where I could possibly plug you in um, for individuals who are looking for speakers because you're
Yes, and you know, look, I'm
girl.
always looking for opportunities.
That's how you
I will
found
go
me.
search out for myself.
That's
Look,
how you
all of
found
this
me.
came, the thing about it is, all of this came about on a vacation in Las Vegas.
Mm,
I was on a mission. When I got those business cards, I told myself I'm getting these business cards because once I get out there, I'm gonna be passing them out, and that's what I was doing the whole time. My sister, my cousin, and my mom, my second mom,
hmm.
they was like, "Come on, come on!" They like everybody was like telling me to come on, but I was like, "Wait, I'm trying to pass out these business cards," and from there, that's how we got here. That, like I tell people, every door is an opportunity of another door.
Yes.
That's why I take every opportunity as I can.
Oh my
Somebody reach
God.
out to me, I'd be like, when, where, how, what time, I'm there. Like, if I got the time, I try to set it up in my schedule. Yes. And then I went to Cheryl May. Like, I'm
Hmm.
always looking for opportunities. So
Yep. And you did. Shell follow up with all of them because that's how we met. She passed those
yes,
cards out
yeah,
in
I
Vegas.
told that lady, I was like, soon as I get back to Jackson, I'm gonna hit Linda up, and I'm gonna go on her. I'm gonna go on her little website. Soon as I hit back to Jackson, I searched it up. I said, "Hook a sister up." I'm like, okay. Email Linda, like, okay, hey Linda, I got Joe, information from her.
You're this lady
Because
in Vegas.
we are a community, yes, and
Yes.
I believe in each one reach one, each one teach one.
Hmm.
Like, I can grow from you, you can grow from me, as
Yep.
well as I'm learning. I'm teaching at the same time. We both learning and we both teaching at the same time.
Right. I love it because this girl followed up to. I remember her calling me. I'm thinking from Las Vegas. You met someone in Vegas and told
Yes.
you about Hook a Sister Up. She told me. I said, wait a minute. So when the minute you dropped her name, Atricia Banks, because Atricia used to be here in Grand Rapids, and you met her. She did move to Vegas. When you met her and you dropped her name, I said, oh yeah, yeah. She used to be here. She referred someone else to me as well.
Yes,
But
I
it's
met
so
her
great
in
to
a
hear.
line. We was
See,
in a line getting drinks, and I was like,
oh my
I passed
God.
it. I was like, hey, I was like, hello, how you doing? I was like, here's my business card. I'm like, I wrote a book, and she was like, oh, really? And then we started talking, and she was like, oh, I got a cleaning business. I said, oh, okay. And
Oh
then
my
she was like,
God.
yeah, we gotta start talking about Hook a Sister Up. And I was like, I put it down in my notes on my phone, and I said, as soon as I get back to Jackson, I'm going to reach out to
And
her.
you did. You called me too. And we've been doing this ever since, y'all, because I hooked her up in and I said, girl, come on, we can sponsor your membership. Sponsor her, come on in. And you've been
Yes.
on Facebook Live. You've met Cheryl Mays through Hasu and been on her some stuff you're doing with Cheryl Mays.
Lasagna TV. Yep.
Yes, yep, all through Hook a Sister Up. So I said, look at this one here. And you follow up with all the connections and resources. And that's what I love about you. If you find a connection through Hasu or anywhere else, you follow up. And it's been such a pleasure just to watch you, all the connections you've made and see you everywhere. So that's what I love about it. So I had to hit you back up again because I said, okay, let me start doing some author stuff. And you were on
Yes.
it was something you had coming up with Zandra or Shirley.
Zandra TV. Yep.
Yes. I said, girl, you gotta
Hmm.
get back on and do if these books could talk show, and you were on it.
I
You
was
hit
like,
me up, said when.
when?
You
Send me
said when.
the link.
I said, let's do this
Like,
then.
yes.
So
I'm like, what
that's how it
time?
works. So if y'all don't follow up, y'all just missed the boat because again, the platform is here, and I tell everybody, Hasu is a little bit of everything, but it's the connections, community, it's all the support, it's all the women you meet through Hasu. And just as you met Patricia in Las Vegas, you're here in Jackson, and then Kalamazoo, Tennessee, California. So women are different places. So you
Hmm.
can connect with those women through Hasu, but it's not just through Hasu, it's just anyone through Hasu that it don't have to be a member. You can just be a supporter or know of Hasu and just have a resource or I just love that all this stuff you're talking about. I've heard the story from other women and I love hearing it because I lose count of how women have come through or been around someone through Hasu and all the different opportunities they've had. So, like I said, the If These Books Could Talk is one promotional platform. Hidden in Plain Sight is another one. Just the podcast. There's so many different opportunities by being connected that I definitely hope women take advantage of and make sure they use these opportunities. We are way past our time, but I had to share
I
that
knew
because I
it.
know
I
I
knew it. That's
just had
what.
to share
Look.
that because I know people aren't using these opportunities, but you are using the heck out of it. I love it. I like to say using, but you are taking advantage of and making sure that you experience the opportunities of being connected to a community of women entrepreneurs, writers, authors, creators, and poets. So I love that you really take advantage of the opportunities and you invite other women. So you have given me many different names and have shared different women that you want to get connected to Hasu.
Yes, because we
Continue
are a
doing that.
community. The
Continue
time, look,
doing
let me
that.
tell y'all, before y'all leave, the time is now. If you need a confirmation for that book, that business, whatever it is, do it now because you're not going to
Yes,
get another chance.
do it. She's telling y'all because I already told you how she worked it. So I'm telling you, do it. So, will there be a part two? Will there be another book? And where can people
Yes.
find the book? Yes, she said yes, y'all. hmm Hold on for
My
part.
next book, I have not got it written out, but I have the idea, I have the concept, what how I want it to go. And my book is going to be called In the Waiting Room.
Ooh.
And it's going to talk about a waiting period. And basically it says, have you ever feel like you was in a room suffocated with no air, as if time was just passing you by and it was never coming?
Mm.
Which everyone can say, which the pandemic, no one knew when we was going to be able to be with our families, and no one knew
Right.
when we was going to be able to go back outside. But
Right.
the thing about it is, it's a waiting period. We know
Mm.
why we in the waiting room, but we don't want to be in the waiting room. But the time that you in the waiting room is for you to figure out why you in there, so you don't have to go back in there.
Mm. Now we're gonna have to wait for the waiting room, y'all. So I'm sorry. We're gonna have to wait for that. But we're gonna have her come back so we can figure out where she's at with that book in the waiting room. Girl, it has been such a pleasure as always to talk to you. But today you got me. You got me today. I didn't expect all this, but I love it. It was a great interview. I loved it. I hope everybody else loved it as they watch the replay.
Yes,
Always
and
leave your
then you
comments.
can. Oh, my bad, Linda.
Go ahead.
And also, you can purchase the book on Amazon. I don't know if
Yes,
it's on Dreamspire Books. I'm gonna have to check that out.
we can leave
And
that
if
in the link. You can
yeah,
come
I
back
can
and leave
leave
me the
that.
link.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
yeah, I can leave that in there.
And I'll also leave the link for the Amazon as well. We can find a book on Amazon. I think it's $9.99 on Amazon when I looked at it. So make sure you get her
Yep.
book, The Inner Child of Me with author Michelle Brown. Amazon. We'll leave the link, and we'll leave the link for DreamSpire as well. We will be looking for In the Waiting Room. We're not going to pressure you, but we'll be looking for it. So we ain't going to pressure you. But yes, y'all, I'm serious. Serious, serious, serious. Y'all already heard her. So make sure y'all hook her up and give her those speaking opportunities, those panel opportunities, because, or anywhere that you know that's looking for authors to share their books, make sure y'all hit Michelle up because this girl ain't playing. And
I'm sure not. I'm
she
telling you,
will
as
hit
soon as
you
you
up.
leave a link, I'm gonna be in your DM
She
like, what?
she
What
gonna hit y'all
time?
up. I'm telling y'all. So girl, I enjoyed it again. Y'all, if y'all want to be a guest on If These Books Could Talk, if you're author, writer, creative, poet, whatever, you want to share your creative works, hit me up. I already have the email in the description. Also, when you watch the replay, make sure you comment on any questions you have because we're going to be monitoring that this post as well for those comments. You can hit Michelle up. Michelle can hit you up. Also, if you want to be a guest on Hidden in Plain Sight, that's for entrepreneurs who share their services and their businesses. That's another show. It works just like this one. It's streamed on StreamYard. So if these books could talk, Hidden in Plain Sight, hit me up for that as well. So thank you again, Linda Otterbridge of Hook a Sister Up and Women Who Write GR here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with our guest author Michelle Brown in Jackson. Um, y'all hit her up. Just hit her up. Thank you for being our guest tonight, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
You guys have a good one.